on Power Talk AM 1460 and FM 101.1. Streaming worldwide on iHeartRadio. Jan Price talks to the movers and shakers in the film business. The Jan Price Show.
You're listening to The Jan Price Show, and my guests today are Chris Kelly, who's the chairman of Fandor and MoviePass, and Gail Gendler, who is the head of programming for Fandor. Welcome.
Thanks so much for having us, Jan.
Oh, I'm so excited to have both of you on the show. So much to talk about. Chris, let's start with you first. You have had an absolutely amazing career, and I've read in my research you're employee number 5 at Facebook.
It was 25.
Oh, 25. I'm sorry.
It was quite early.
25. I meant 25. So tell me, with everything's going on in the industry right now, obviously, and you were the chief privacy officer there. How do you feel about what's going on with, not that I like to be controversial, but how do you feel about what's going on with Facebook right now at this present moment?
Well, I think that they've had a lot of changes to make around the way that data is shared by the platform, and I think that they're doing a very good job of being forthright about addressing that. And so Mark's testimony before Congress and the moves that they've made, I think are really positive steps forward.
I think so too. I really do too. I agree with you, and it seems like everybody's now sending all of. I'm sure we're all getting inundated with emails from all the companies we deal with right now about their privacy, policies. Yes,
and I mean one of the reasons that I ended up specializing in privacy law was that we're in this moment as everybody gets used to being connected through the internet and other technological means at all times, and everybody carries a supercomputer in their pocket now called their cell phone and uses it in a variety of purposes. And we're getting used to the idea that interconnection is constant and that data is constantly being collected. And for the most part, people are comfortable with that when it's being used for their benefit and that they understand how it's being used. Privacy law is the way that gets expressed, and sort of people are trying to figure out over time what this new world looks like, and privacy is one of the key areas that gets rubrics that gets discussed under. So I was happy to do the work that I did with Facebook on that front, and then also now with Fandor and MoviePass and a number of other businesses that I'm involved in, apply data for the better experiences in media and entertainment.
So how did you transition? Well, it seems like everybody from who's been involved in Silicon Valley is moving into the entertainment arena. So maybe that was a natural segue. But how did you end up becoming involved with Fandor and MoviePass? And weren't they both launched about the same time?
They were, and I got involved in MoviePass about 3 years ago, but Fandor about 7 years ago now, and just as it was getting started, and was one of the seed funders, because it seemed to me that the entire world was going to be streaming, that all media was moving from a standard scheduled play to people sort of grabbing shows on demand and creating understanding and discovery in very different ways. But movies are constantly a cultural touchstone that people operate around, and so Fandor is meant to be your guide to the movies and an easy streaming service that you can have access to a lot of great films, but also we produce content that is about people's wonderful movie experiences. MoviePass is about access to theaters and the idea that there would be a subscription theatrical package seemed like a great one to me when I got introduced to the founders by Ted Hope, who was the former CEO of Fandor and who now runs the movie side of Amazon Studios. Ted had put me together with Hame and Stacy, who had founded the company, and we came to a deal pretty quickly and recruited Mitch Lowe to come in and run the company, and we've been off to the races since last year, really. That was when we really hit an inflection point, and up over 2 million subscribers now.
And as I said to you before we started, it seems like every day there's a new press release about MoviePass and this upstart company that's sort of shaking up the industry. But I think what their model is and what they're trying to do is and truly beneficial for everyone.
Yes.
If you love movies, and I talk about this all the time on this show, that movies need to be seen in the movie theaters. And it's all about that full experience. I don't care how big your home screen is and the surround sound and everything else. It's not the same as seeing it in a theater with other people and, hearing everybody laugh or cry or sigh Wi-Fi or whatever. So I think getting people in seats is really important, and that's the mission of MoviePass, and it seems to be succeeding.
Indeed, and with Fandor as well, we want people to have access to movies and that movie experience, even in little bite-sized chunks through social and other plays. And then if they want to stream it on their phones, if they want to stream it in their homes, we want to have it available at all times. We've also done a lot of interesting bundling, Fandor and MoviePass together, both in a deal that we did with Costco over the holiday season, and then also just MoviePass and Fandor alone through the MoviePass website. And those have all been very successful in terms of recruiting new subscribers.
That's great. I when I got my MoviePass, it came with Fandor, so
Excellent.
I was very excited about that. Gail, tell us a little bit. What's the Fandor's philosophy? What is it? It's the principle upon which it was developed.
Well, I can speak to the philosophy that I think we embody these days. Maybe I'll let Chris talk about where it came from, because I've been with Fandor for a year and a half, and as the programming head, I'm looking at elevating stories and storytelling makers and people whose voices and visions we want to bring to the forefront of a movie-loving community. And our mission is really to share hidden gems with you, curate a platform for you to discover amazing content, and create dialogue and community around the editorial voice that we have. And we have a really distinct editorial voice on our platform. We offer short-form video essays and a lot of written work to engage our viewers and to engage and encourage dialogue around all things movies. And on the movie side, we're really trying to invite you to delight in everything that's movie-centric. So whether it's a short film or a foreign language doc or a foreign or English language feature, we're trying to just encourage people to come to the platform and love what they see. And we offer a lot of points of entry through double features and spotlights and movie lists. And we're a place for people to discover new voices and to find sort of comfort food in terms of like great studio titles that we can offer to you.
I love it. And your library is quite extensive, and you show all kinds of movies. I mean, Chris, can you address when Fandor was created, what was the guiding principle upon which it was developed?
Well, I mean, with the changing, access points for both new content that's being created through film festivals and or that's being seen in film festivals and any number of different channels, and the access points that are made available through streaming on any device, whether it's a Roku or an embedded TV app with Android or iOS and Apple TV, or whether it's just the things that people want to watch on their cell phones. All of these things, or to make movies on their cell phones too. Mm-hmm. The exciting possibilities are what Fandor has stood for all along. That finding great visual storytelling and building out the ability to both curate with people and also with an excellent recommendation engine those stories that might be a little bit more off the beaten path because they're not presented in a traditional studio system. But as Gail said, we always like to find studio movies that have that indie ethos to them and that have come up through the ecosystem, and we present those classics regularly on the Fandor platform too. Excellent.
I love it. You have such a good variety on Fandor. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back after these brief messages. You're listening to the Jan Price Show, all about movies, on Power Talk 1460 and 101 FM, and like the Jan Price Show on Facebook, and check out thejampriceshow.com.
The Ozio Theater in downtown Monterey is now open every day, showing independent and foreign films. The Ozio Theater has new concession offerings, including beer, wine, hard cider, and their homemade Lush Slush. You can now schedule private event screenings for community charity events, birthdays, anniversaries, or just a fun gathering of friends. For more information, visit the Ozio Theater online at oziotheater.com.
Garnet Lash Studio, located in Monterey and San Diego, offers the best lash artists in their cities. Each lash artist is trained and endorsed by Garnet Lash Academy. Training includes lifetime access to online modules and videos, a toolkit, and discounts on the best tools available. To book an appointment, go to garnetlash.com. For information on training, go to garnetlashacademy.com. Be sure to check out what their customers have to say on Yelp by searching Garnet Lash Studios.
Tired of looking at your worn wood floors? Mr. Sandless can bring them back to life again. That's right. It's Mr. Sandless, the no sanding solution to beautiful wood floors. Mr. Sandless is clean, efficient, contains no harmful chemicals, and is certified green. Mr. Sandless refinishes all hardwoods, softwoods, engineered flooring, and laminates. Most jobs are completed in one day with no cleanup required ever, with virtually no odor, and is safe for pets and kids. No need to move out or even leave the house. Mr. Sandless is the company that invented Sandless Refinishing and is the largest floor refinishing company in the world. Over 120,000 happy customers, guaranteed adhesion, guaranteed satisfaction, and a 5-year warranty. Call Mr. Sandless today at 831-747-7476. That's 747-7476 or MrSandless.com. That's MrSandless.com.
On Power Talk AM 1460 and FM 101.1, streaming worldwide on iHeartRadio. Jan Price talks to the movers and shakers in the film business. The Jan Price Show.
We are back, and my guests today are Chris Kelly, who's the chairman of Fandor and MoviePass, and Gail Gendler, Gail, who is the head of programming at Fandor. Gail, when you are looking at films to, I guess, purchase, you purchase the films to put on Fandor? Is that how that works, or do you license them?
We license rights. Yep.
Okay. So when you're looking at the films, which part of your decision-making process? How do you choose the films that are going to be on Fandor?
It's a great question, Jan. So when we're looking at content, and I'm just going to insert one pause here, we get content from everyone, which is an amazing virtue, I guess, of being this boutique platform to a certain extent. Everyone reaches out to us. So we get cold submissions from people who are first-time filmmakers, and we get submissions from people who have deep, biographies in the film space who want to use Fandor as another platform. And we deal with big distribution companies and studios. So when we look and talk about our film submissions, we're really reaching a very broad audience of interested filmmakers who want to work with Fandor. When we look at content, we do have the luxury of having some level of freedom, like, will this work on Fandor? Is it a short, a doc, a feature? How does it fit with what we currently have? Is it great filmmaking quality? Is it a story we don't have? Is it from a country maybe we have underrepresented in our catalog? Is it in English? Is it non-English? So we're looking at sort of variables. And yes, cast, pedigree, and, director is quite valuable, but I also really value new voices. And I want to find a first-time filmmaker who maybe we can establish a longer relationship with so they can come to us. We can take a brand-new film that hasn't had any exposure and onboard it and bring it to life on the platform and curate it in an interesting movie list or spotlight, and then work alongside that filmmaker for their, as their career blossoms. And I think that's, again, a beautiful starting point for Fandor. Last year at the Oscars, we could focus and say, we have Damien Chazelle's first work, we have Barry Jenkins' first work, and so we can point to the work of sort of Academy Award winners and say we hosted and had their original short-form content on platform, and as they grow, they love to see that we can resurface it and promote it when they have great moments in their careers. We can align and resurface content and really push it out and sort of say to those guys, we're holding you up because we've had a long-term relationship. We did it with the Safdie brothers this year. We have a bunch of their shorts, and they were nominated for a great place. So we onboard content that we believe fits within the framework of Fandor, and in some ways you could argue almost everything fits, but we try for great production quality, great storytelling, new voices, new visions of what film is. Chris, do you think I'm missing anything when it comes
No,
to
I think that's an excellent sort of set of examples of the way that we look at this process. And one of the great things that the internet and streaming allow is that ability to go deep and to really sort of look back on the filmography of great filmmakers, great visual storytellers.
I will say one other thing. I've had this ongoing conversation about curation versus algorithm, and I think we own this unique, like we call it, our secret sauce, which is it's the combo platter of you have to do hard and deep curation, and we have really great programming curators, And then I have to I had a long conversation with our data scientists today talking about, like, let's look at some analytics as they relate to our content. And I have to use both because it's what the world is doing now. But I think we try to do a level of personal hand-picked, hand selection on top of the analytics and on top of looking at intel from the internet that talks to us about the films that we're looking at, because you do have to look at them hand in hand, and then you have to sort of step outside all of the analytics and say, maybe this film doesn't have the best, I don't know, external popularity number, but I've been in a movie theater when this film has screened and it gets credible audience empathy and thought, and I want that on the platform because I do think it fits into who we are as a platform, and we can use it curatorially, and we can also elevate a film that maybe has underexposure in the marketplace because it fits within what we believe is really strong storytelling.
How do you direct people to those movies that may not be as familiar to the viewing audience? Is there a way that you kind of can, direct them in a way to at least check out that film?
Yeah, we have a few ways, both on the movie side of the site and on editorial. So on the movie site, we have people who curate spot lists and movie lists, or spotlights, sorry. And the spotlights talk about themes. So Invisible Voices we did, which was about narration in film. And so we're going to talk about narration in film, and we're going to talk about films from our library that are basically narrated and use narration in unique, interesting ways. And on that list, you're going to find, again, maybe some well-known studio titles, and then we're going to surface a bunch of films from the library that maybe are not as well-known as a way to talk about a film technique that resonates with our audience that we can support with a bunch of examples. And then we'll do it on the editorial side, where our editorial team is producing these really distinctive, very smart short-form video essays that talk about, I'll give you an example, SFX, special effects in film, and maybe they'll talk about rack focus in a 3 to 4 minute video essay. And we're going to pull in a lot of clips from films from the library to talk about a specific technique in filmmaking, and we're going to surface a bunch of films within that video essay or within a written work. So we're going to try to connect with our audience, whether it's short-form video essays that are on the platform, or maybe you're going to go to our Facebook page and you'll see them, or on social, whether Instagram or Twitter, and we're talking about our films, but we're using an editorial voice and a very distinctive lens to talk about our content, but make it very sort of easy to connect for someone who maybe doesn't know our film content or doesn't understand, like, gosh, I didn't know what Fandor has all these movies, and we're gonna engage you through our short form video essays, and that sort of opens the door to look at the actual film library. So we're trying to connect the dots always, whether it's through, a video essay on Angela Bassett. I'm like, oh my God, her career is so vast and deep. She was phenomenal in Black Panther. Let's talk about how much we love Angela Bassett. But we may not have a lot of Angela Bassett movies, but we're going to talk about her, and then we're going to point you to other strong female leads and other brilliant films and connect the dots in that way.
So when you say talk about, what do you mean? What are you using as that vehicle?
Well, we have a video essay that uses film clips. So we'll use a lot of clips to discuss her career, or we may have a companion written work. So we actually have written articles on our editorial site.
So reaching audience with interesting content about film is a core animating value for Fandor. And in a media era when everything is changing, it's important to have a native, sort of internet-oriented and streaming brand that stands for high-quality content. One of the questions that we've gotten all along is, well, isn't Netflix going to do this? And Netflix has decided to focus on their own series and on promoting their own series and on, big budget original content. We think that people are looking for a number of different things from streaming, including great access to the classics and the things that we think will become classics. But more than anything else, they're looking for the ability to connect with that, emotional power that movies have for them and why people declare themselves as movie lovers and movie fans. It's about easy access to that through streaming, and MoviePass is about easy access to the new stuff in the theaters, the newest stuff, and to provide people with a means of getting easy access to the theatrical experience, which is still a critical part of the way that people think about and want to see the movies.
I agree, and it's a great partnership because you both, are appealing to actually the same thing in a different way. I mean, you go to see a movie in the movie theater, you love it, and then you can later on watch it, on Fandor. And watch it over and over again, which is a wonderful, also wonderful too, because I certainly watch a lot of movies at home. But, if there's new movies out, I like to go see them in the theater. And then I watch the classics and old movies at home on through Fandor. So it's a great way of doing that. But, Fandor is a great resource for film buffs, it sounds like. For anybody who loves movies, it sounds like you're going to get a really good education when you watch Fandor, because it's got so much other content there that can give you the background of a particular film or an artist or a genre and that kind
Absolutely.
of thing.
And I also like to say with the short-form video, the short-form video essays that we do and the stories that we tell in those, it's also an easy means to for our audience on social to share very easily with their friends and become the smart film buffs that they are.
I think you also pointed to one other thing. It's like it's a place for people to discover films, and I know we haven't touched upon this, but Jared Leto is our chief creative officer.
Oh, wow.
I was on an early call with him, and I hung up the call, and I was like, oh, my God, he loves this more than we love us. And he basically said, I love you because I come to Fandor, and he goes, I go to other platforms, and I look for half hour, I'm stuck. I can't figure out what to watch. He goes, I go to Fandor, I get sucked in. You have this discovery mechanism, and I'm just in. Mm-hmm. And then when I'm in, I can't leave. And when I'm in, I'm finding things that, oh, right, I know this, or, oh, I love this. And each piece of content is different, but it's compelling and it's engaging. And I think he was really struck by, again, is it the secret sauce? Is it a rec engine? Like how we curate and how we allow someone to discover. Because I love the film Tell No One, and we have Tell No One. It's a 2006 French film thriller. And I remember watching in the movie theater, and I will watch that repeatedly, and it's on the platform. It is like an incredibly compelling, very exciting thriller. But it's like we have something there that, to your point, to me, it's a classic. I want to watch it again and again. But listening to Jared talk about a really engaged experience on a streaming service that he found really compelling, very fulfilling, and he learned about other things that he maybe didn't realize we had. And I think that's the beauty. And again, like I always hear Chris say the word delight. I think people delight in going to Fandor because the experiences, you may not know about a portion of our film library, but the minute you're hooked in, it's hard to unhook.
Yes, and Jared is obviously an incredible Renaissance person in this area. Both as an actor and as a producer and a director, and has done documentaries and a number of different things, and obviously has the music side of his career right now. He's out on tour with 30 Seconds to Mars, and he's just a perfect example of what we want people to have access to, and the way that we can see this wonderful sort of new era of content that people have access to because technology allows it to be easy and accessible.
It's very exciting. It really is what's going on in the film industry. We're going to be right back after these brief messages. You're listening to The Jan Price Show, all about movies on Power Talk 1460 and 101 FM. And like The Jan Price Show on Facebook and check out thejanpriceshow.com.
Have you ever dreamed of doing commercials or movies? Your dream starts with a desire. And if you have the desire to do commercials and feature films, we want to know about you. We're Moco Film, one of the Genesis companies that includes VoiceJock, a major provider of TV commercial talent to TV stations throughout the nation. Registering is free. Just go to mocofilm.com and fill out the information. That's MOCOfilm.com. You'll become part of a large talent bank available to producers. Go to mocofilm.com today and start living your dream.
The Century Theater at Northridge Mall is newly remodeled with luxury loungers in every auditorium. Oversized plush recliners are electric-powered reclining seats with extendable footrests, cup holders, and snack tables. Guaranteed comfort with all reserved seating. Reserve the best seat in town online at Cinemark.com or download the Cinemark app today. The Century Theater at Northridge Mall is newly remodeled.
Garnet Lash, located in Monterey and San Diego, offers the best lash artists in California. Each lash artist has been trained at the Garnet Lash Academy, so you can be sure that you are getting a lash artist that has the skill, artistry, and expertise to give you amazing results. Here are what some happy customers have to say about Garnet Lash.
My eyelashes are amazing. I've had so many compliments. People can't tell if they're real or fake. They're very natural looking. I hardly need makeup anymore. My eyes are so much brighter. I'm very happy with them, and I want them forever.
If you're looking for great quality lashes and great service, this is the place to go. I love my eyelash extensions and would recommend Garnet Lash to anyone that is interested in giving eyelash extensions a try. All the lash artists are professional, and it shows. They're awesome.
If you want your eyes to look fabulous morning till night, make an appointment today at garnetlash.com. That's garnetlash.com.
On Power Talk AM 1460 and FM 101.1, streaming worldwide on iHeartRadio. Jan Price talks to the movers and shakers in the film business. The Jan Price Show.
We are back, and my guest today is Chris Kelly, who's the chairman of Fandor and MoviePass, and Gail Gendler, who's the head of programming for Fandor. And before the break, we were getting into a really great discussion about the experience of going into Fandor and really going in and learning more about the film experience. And so when initially, one of the things I read when I was doing my research is that Fandor wanted to bring the film festival experience into your home. And it sounds like it's doing that. But tell me a little bit about how you saw that vision, Chris and Gail. You can both speak to this, and how it's been translated into Fandor now.
Well, I began going to film festivals, going to the Sundance Festival in particular, about 8 years ago. And I'd always been friendly with Carrie Putnam, who ended up running it and had, after a long career in the film industry, the Sundance Institute. And she and her husband had been close personal friends for quite some time. And she insisted that I come, and I'd always wanted to go, and finally managed to do it. And, that experience of being, in a community around other film lovers and thinking about seeing the best visual expression that's been curated very well by expert programmers like John Cooper and Trevor Groth and the crew that's run the Sundance Festival for so long was an exciting experience. And then when Dan Aronson and Mondi Cosma and Jonathan Marlowe and a couple of other folks had come in, and Albert Reinhardt had come together to think about Fandor, they thought that, as streaming came up, that sort of experience is exactly what should be created. And Monty and I met through a common friend, and I decided that was a fantastic idea, and started working with them. And over time, we've looked for great people who have had excellent experience in creating that type of experience, like Gail, and like Larry Adam, who ran the Sundance Channel for Robert Redford for 10 years, who's our CEO at Fandor now. So we have sort of tried to build the best people around creating that experience, and then thinking about how we build that online, and the curation of both the content itself, but also of the flow of that love of movies that can exist now through, as I often say, in a feed-based media world where people are looking to their news feeds, and I got to participate in the launch of Newsfeed at Facebook and to watch the way that services like Twitter and Instagram have come to the fore. That media experience is going to be more and more of what people look for in their everyday lives, and building a great reverential movie site that works in that world has been the animating purpose of Fandor all along. And we think we've done a pretty good job of it so far, but it's in constant evolution given the state of the media world.
Oh, it would have to be. Go ahead, Gail.
I was going to jump in just in a really nuts and bolts basis. I would say, I was looking on the site earlier this morning, and we are surfacing, Fandor loves Tribeca. Tribeca's happening now.
Right.
And so we have a lens on how to make our viewers feel connected to film festivals. And so we try, at least in my tenure, to, on a monthly basis, talk about a festival that's going on and connect the viewer, to a list of Sundance titles, a list of South by. Coming up, we're going to have a list of Cannes festivals that we actually have on platforms, so that we do create, to a certain extent, your own experience. So if you want to understand what's at South by or Telluride or Venice or Toronto, you can come to the platform, and we have a huge festival component, and search by festival and just explore those movies. And we also, part of our editorial voice and our editorial vision is to allow someone who can't go to Sundance to have a Sundance experience on platform. So during Sundance, we will have on the editorial side a lot of video essays that relate to filmmakers who are at Sundance now, and maybe we have their work on platform. Or we'll talk about, up-and-coming filmmakers who are at Sundance this year. So we create a whole editorial vision around the top-tier festivals so that you can actually, if you can't go there, you can go there on the platform, let's say, so that we're providing you tools to experience what's going on this year. And then we dig into our archive and say, hey, these are films from the past festivals that are top caliber films, and we happen to have, we have the rights to, and we want you to explore. So we actually try to curate in tandem with the actual live events so that our subscribers feel connected to the big festival.
I love it. I love that. You're doing something that nobody else is doing, and that really is like a film geek's streaming service. Fandor is for people who just absolutely, if they've never been to a film festival, being able to experience it through Fandor is a wonderful way to experience it. And then for many people who have gone to film festivals and love that experience, you're able to do that again in your living room on Fandor. I think it's a fabulous concept, and so excited that you're doing that. When you go to the film festivals, as all of us know, we go to film festivals, we see these wonderful movies that we fall in love with, and then it's never gets distributed.
Yes, exactly.
And you go, wait a minute, I really loved that movie, and I'm waiting for it to come out, and you never see it. Do you have access to those kinds of movies? Are all the movies that you have on Fandor, have they been distributed in some way, or can you license them to be on Fandor even though they haven't been in theaters?
Well, I think one of the beauties of Fandor is we have movies that are, widely distributed. Again, we did studio packages, so we have classic indie titles that come off of Miramax, MGM, Lionsgate output deals. But then if you pivot, we onboarded a film called Kate Plays Christine, 2016 Sundance Festival. Pretty big profile doc at the festival. It was the same year that the Rebecca Hall feature, Christine, was out, so it was like a tandem doc feature on the same story. We have the rights to the doc, and it's a brilliant, beautifully shot documentary from 2016 Sundance. So we're picking up pretty reasonably sized festival pedigree titles. Maybe, I don't know that we're in the ballpark for like a 2018 Sundance film, but we are being offered big festival titles because I do think the landscape is changing when it comes to pickups by Netflix, Amazon at the big festivals. So there's maybe more opportunity for Fandor to get in a little bit earlier, but we are absolutely a place for people to look for fairly recent festival pedigree docs and features. And to your point, we may be first run, so that means, no other studio or streaming service may have secured the rights, and we may be first. So we do have that. We're getting more and more visibility, and I think people are turning to us because I think some of the bigger streaming services are not picking up in the same way, the same number of features and docs at a festival. So it's much more of an opportunity for us.
When we're moving into an era of the hyper-empowered consumer,
Right.
That question that you ask of why can't I get this movie, and stream it, or I missed that. I heard that this movie was really great at the Napa Valley Film Festival, for instance, and now, I didn't get a chance to see it. How do I get to see it? Over time, I think that services should seek to serve that customer extraordinarily well, and there are a number of different business models to think about for how that could happen. But we're just going to, over time, have the expectation that when a piece of content gets spread through word of mouth, when it gets promoted in a number of interesting ways, that you're going to want to be able to have access to it much more quickly than in current distribution systems. And Fandor and MoviePass are aiming to lead in those areas and to use information and that people want to share about their film history and their interests, and to present those possibilities to them more easily.
I think it's absolutely amazing. This show is dedicated the same way as Fandor is in many ways to independent filmmakers and documentarians. That's where, because they don't have many platforms in which to promote their films and talk about their movies, and a lot of the people that I have on my show are people that I've met at the various film festivals that I attend and work with the publicists, and it's like you, people seek out the show because there's not many platforms for it. So that's why there's a good synergy between what you're doing at Fandor and what we're doing here on this show, too. So it's a nice little marriage there, too. Gail, when you're looking, and Chris, you too, when you go to these film festivals and you're watching these movies, what in particular are you looking for? What's your criteria for looking at these films and saying, this would be a great movie for Fandor?
I think first and foremost, is it a great movie? I mean, and I think that I am one of many opinions in the office, so it's not just me. I have a team who's supremely knowledgeable, and it's not is it a democracy? It's not really a democracy when it comes to that. Like I need to have other voices. Actually, we're having this sidebar. We're having a conversation about a piece of film that came in, and three of us have looked at it, and we all have slightly different opinions. Now, it may become my choice in the end because I feel like I want to hold to certain criteria. But at a film festival, is it a great new storyteller? Is it beautifully shot and produced and edited? Is it overall just a great, strong movie? And I would say if it's a first-time filmmaker who's in the next segment at Sundance, that's as compelling to me as a premiere. Like, I want a great story that will resonate with a really broad audience, that will be meaningful to people. And I think in the back of my head, I always hear Chris say, like, Fandor's a place for dialogue, community, and conversation about all things movies. And so to me, there's three triggers. Like, is this going to evoke some kind of conversation? If we talk about it through our editorial voice and do a short form video about the filmmaker or someone in the cast, will that create community and a dialogue? And I think we want something that we can connect back to the library, because we're always thinking how to curate, how can we connect the dots. Those to me are sort of top line, and a great story is a great story, and the goal would be to really bring to life great stories. And to your point, if it's undistributed, that has meaning to us as well, because we want to elevate voices that maybe aren't getting the kind of exposure that they need.
Which is great. They need that. So it's great that people can locate their movie on Fandor that might not have gotten out there in the mainstream. So it's wonderful what you're doing. We're going to be right back after these brief messages. You are listening to the Jan Price Show, all about movies on Power Talk 1460 and 101 FM, and like the Jan Price Show on Facebook, and check out thejanpriceshow.com.
The Ozio Theater in downtown Monterey is now open every day, showing independent and foreign films. The Ozio Theater has new concession offerings, including beer, wine, hard cider, and their homemade Lush Slush. You can now schedule private event screenings for community charity events, birthdays, anniversaries, or just a fun gathering of friends. For more information, visit the Ozio Theater online at oziotheater.com.
Tired of looking at your worn wood floors? Mr. Sandless can bring them back to life again. That's right. It's Mr. Sandless, the no sanding solution to beautiful wood floors. Mr. Sandless is clean, efficient, contains no harmful chemicals, and is certified green. Mr. Sandless refinishes all hardwoods, softwoods, engineered flooring, and laminates. Most jobs are completed in one day with no cleanup required ever, with virtually no odor, and is safe for pets and kids. No need to move out or even leave the house. Mr. Sandless is the company that invented Sandless Refinishing and is the largest floor refinishing company in the world. Over 120,000 happy customers, guaranteed adhesion, guaranteed satisfaction, and a 5-year warranty. Call Mr. Sandless today at 831-747-7476. That's 747-7476. Or MrSandless.com. That's MrSandless.com.
Garnet Lash Studio, located in Monterey and San Diego, offers the best lash artists in their cities. Each lash artist is trained and endorsed by Garnet Lash Academy. Training includes lifetime access to online modules and videos, a toolkit, and discounts on the best tools available. To book an appointment, go to garnetlash.com. For information on training, go to garnetlashacademy.com. Be sure to check out what their customers have to say on Yelp by searching Garnet Lash Studios.
On Power Talk AM 1460 and FM 101.1, streaming worldwide on iHeartRadio. Jan Price talks to the movers and shakers in the film business. The Jan Price Show.
We are back, and my guest today is Chris Kelly, who is the chairman of Fandor and MoviePass, and Gail Gendler, who is the head of programming for Fandor. Chris, do you get involved in the decision-making process as to what films are going to be on Fandor?
I'm happy to sort of toss some things in as I've talked to people around, but ultimately, those decisions are Gail's, and she does an excellent job at it.
Thank you, Chris.
When you go to the film festivals, are you offering some thoughts about some of the movies that you've gotten to see?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, one of the reasons that I do this is that I do enjoy film quite a bit, and I enjoy talking about it too. So happy to share my observations with Gail and Larry and Felice, our COO, and the team, and also with MoviePass, also getting involved in some of the work that we've done. And we did launch at Sundance this year MoviePass Ventures, which is a more traditional distributor taking part in the more traditional distribution of first-run feature films, and have participated in some of those discussions too, based on some of the movies that I saw. But ultimately, I don't want to be the decision maker on that. That's not appropriate. I leave that to the true experts.
Well, it was very exciting because they made the announcement that MoviePass was going to be purchasing films, and they purchased a film with The Orchard,
yes.
American Animals, which is coming out June 1st. So,
yep.
Did both of you, Gail and Chris, have an opportunity to see that movie?
I did not get a chance to see it, unfortunately.
Gail, did you?
I'm going to ditto. I did not. I have MoviePass, so when it's out in my local theater, I will see it.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm hoping to have the filmmakers on the show. I'm working on that right now, so which I'm looking forward to, because I'm working with The Orchard on some of their movie projects. So
they have been a great partner so far.
Yes.
We're very much looking forward to putting the movie out in the theaters, and to the theory of MoviePass Ventures was that we were inevitably driving quite a bit of box office, especially towards films that were sort of projected in the $5 to $50 million range box box office wise, and we're proving up lift because people are willing to be a little bit more experimental. And we thought that capturing some of that value and taking a more active role in that process would be a very interesting set of experiments, and it's going well so far.
Wonderful. I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens with this movie, with the collaboration with MoviePass and Orchard. I think it's again very exciting, and we're finding that the market lately in movies, you've got the big blockbusters, which everybody, DC Comics type of thing, Marvel and all of that are people are flocking to, and the big blockbuster. But then these smaller films that are being made for a minimal amount of money. Look at, A Quiet Place and last year's, what was the other one? The big movie last year. Anyhow, that I can't even think. Get Out, which wasn't made. I tend not to like horror films. I stay away from them. There's not my type of film. And yet, and everybody said, "Oh, don't go see Get Out. It'll scare you." And I said, "Okay, well, I've got a screener for it, because I'm a member of SAG and AFTRA, and because of the SAG-AFTRA Awards, I had to watch it." And they said, "Well, watch it, during the day, when, and have the lights on," and it wasn't scary at all.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
I did too. I was like, why did I stay away from that movie? So when A Quiet Place came out, I said, I've got to go see that. And I loved it because it was I called it in my movie review, I said it was a horror film with heart.
Okay. I have not seen it yet.
Oh, you haven't?
But I'm very much looking forward to it.
Oh, it actually made me cry.
Wow.
And so when you're going to, and that's what I always say, when you go to a movie, you want to have some kind of an emotional reaction to it, whatever it is. And so this movie, I said, everybody, puts it in that category of horror, and yet to me it wasn't. And it was, but it was just had a lot of heart to it. And as I said, it did make me cry. Have you seen it, Gail? Did you see it yet?
I have not seen it.
Okay, well, I recommend it.
Again, another MoviePass outing.
Okay, you'll have to go. Both of you will have to go see it because it's a really well done movie, and visually, and the sound, and the musical score. I just thought it was a really well done movie. And John Krasinski, and of course Emily Blunt is always brilliant in whatever she does. But he did a wonderful job with it. So now it seems like horror's the new genre. I mean, it's an old genre, but it seems like it's having a revitalization. And whenever I'm reading in the trades about new movie contracts and new movie deals, it's all around, and new scripts, it's all around horror. So what do you think about that? Is that something that is somehow there's something about that right now in this place and time in our history that people feel they need to be scared? There
are interesting things about latent demand that can be hard to discover, and when you provide a lot more access to the movies, and when you think about different ways to think about financing in a traditional system and to sort of making movies for a lot cheaper. I mean, Jason Blum has made an amazing career out of producing movies fairly cheaply, the horror movies for the most part,
right.
And that have been tremendous story-driven movies. And Jason is one of the smartest guys in the industry by far. And you see all sorts of different directors and producers coming through the model, and that horror is one of those that I think somewhat it was a bit underserved as a genre, that people are interested in being terrified. And the key thing from that perspective as a parent is labeling and and sort of watching out for that. But also as somebody who I enjoy a good scary movie sometimes. I did enjoy Get Out immensely, and had heard about wonderful things about it, and was excited when I was finally able to experience, and it lived up to the hype. But yeah, horror has evolved as a very interesting genre. We've done some interesting work on Fandor about the horror genre in our originals, in our short form originals.
And does it? Yeah. Go ahead, Gail.
No, I think we again, just being nimble and sort of agile as a team, our editorial people can turn on a dime and be like, okay, Get Out was brilliant, got incredible reviews. Let's talk about it. And let's talk about how it intersects with what's on the Fandor library. So that's one of our sweet spots, again, is like looking at what is trending and what's in the zeitgeist and connecting it back to, thoughtful, conversation and content around a trending topic in the movie scene. And that's, I think, what we do really well on our editorial side.
Well, it's also, it's interesting that the, Get Out and A Quiet Place are two films that are, again, under the genre horror, and yet they both have messages, big, deep messages. Yeah. And I'm not sure that's true for every horror film that comes out. I'm going to have to start watching more of them now to see if that's true or not. But, and that makes the film experience, again, richer, because you're not just going to get scared. You're also, there's like layers to it. And that's the other part of a brilliant film for me, is when there's multiple layers that makes you think about it long after the movie has ended. And I always say here too, if you go to see a movie and you just went, oh, well, that was a nice experience and that was it. I like a movie when it keeps playing in my head and more ideas come through, and you live with the movie a little bit longer, and that's the sign of a really great movie for me.
I agree completely, and that's actually been one of the animating principles that I articulate at Fandor all the time, is that we're about movies the way that people use movies in conversation. We're about the way that people always reference the scene in The Godfather, any number of different scenes in The Godfather. It's the Sonny driving into the toll booths, or it's the all of these different things. But the way that people use movies as quick connection points for communicating with other people is one of the things that we're trying to capture at Fandor, especially.
I love it. And that's why, again, going to the movies with, your friends, and then you afterwards go to dinner and discuss the movie. Yes. And with Fandor, you can do the same thing in your home and sit with your friends and, again, have a discussion about the movie afterwards, because that's really what, movies can shift what's going on in our world a little bit. And sometimes they're the precursor for things. You'll see an older movie and you go, oh, my God, that was way ahead of its time, now that it's out. Yeah.
The Manchurian Candidate, which we ran, recently on Fandor.
Did you play both? I mean, this is always fascinating to me because there's the original Manchurian.
The original is a fantastic movie. The remake I didn't care for very much.
Yeah, do you ever play them back to back? I'm always thinking, it's fun to take and play movies back to back.
We actually are doing that. We have Cry a Beloved Country, and I found it on 2 different avails from the different studios. And someone said, "Why are you doing that?" I said, "It's really unusual to have the remake available, whether it's brilliant or not, or people have opinions, sort of unusual." I also love the idea, which we've tried to do, is the short and the feature. There was a short at TIFF a few years ago, I want to say called Sleeping Giant, and then there was based on a short, then they did the feature. It's the same as Whiplash at Sundance a few years ago. Whiplash was a short, then it was a feature. So to me, again, working with first-time filmmakers sometimes gives us that leverage. If they have a short that then turns into a feature,
right.
And we've programmed the short, and we eventually can get the feature. It's a really great story.
Oh, I like that.
It's the arc of the storyteller, him or herself, and I love to see that development and growth.
I love it too. I think that's a great idea. It really is. I'll be right back after these brief messages. You're listening to the Jan Price Show, all about movies on Power Talk 1460 and 101 FM. Like the Jan Price Show on Facebook and check out thejanpriceshow.com.
Garnet Lash, located in Monterey and San Diego, offers the best lash artists in California. Each lash artist has been trained at the Garnet Lash Academy, so you can be sure that you are getting a lash artist that has the skill, artistry, and expertise to give you amazing results. Here are what some happy customers have to say about Garnet Lash.
My eyelashes are amazing. I've had so many compliments. People can't tell if they're real or fake. They're very natural looking. I hardly need makeup anymore. My eyes are so much brighter. I'm very happy with them, and I want them forever.
If you're looking for great quality lashes and great service, this is the place to go. I love my eyelash extensions and would recommend Garnet Lash to anyone that is interested in giving eyelash extensions a try. All the lash artists are professional, and it shows. They're awesome.
If you want your eyes to look fabulous morning till night, make an appointment today at garnetlash.com. That's garnetlash.com. Have you ever dreamed of doing commercials or movies? Your dream starts with a desire. And if you have the desire to do commercials and feature films, we want to know about you. We're Moco Film, one of the Genesis companies that includes VoiceJock, a major provider of TV commercial talent to TV stations throughout the nation. Registering is free. Just go to mocofilm.com and fill out the information. That's MOCOfilm.com. You'll become part of a large talent bank available to producers. Go to mocofilm.com today and start living your dream.
The Century Theater at Northridge Mall is newly remodeled with luxury loungers in every auditorium. Oversized plush recliners are electric-powered reclining seats with extendable footrests, cup holders, and snack tables. Guaranteed comfort with all reserved seating. Reserve the best seat in town online at Cinemark.com or download the Cinemark app today. The Century Theater at Northridge Mall is newly remodeled.
On Power Talk AM 1460 and FM 101.1, streaming worldwide on iHeartRadio. Jan Price talks to the movers and shakers in the film business. The Jan Price Show.
We are back, and my guests today are Chris Kelly, who's the chairman of Fandor and MoviePass, and Gail Gendler, who is the head of programming at Fandor. And I'm so sorry to say this, but our time is up.
Wow.
What a great! You were worried it was going to be too long, and here we are. We zipped through it. So, I mean, a wonderful conversation. I'd love to have you both back on the show. I love talking anything about movies. That's what the show's about, and I appreciate your time. So
Thanks
thank
so much,
you.
Jan. This was great.
Great, Jan.
Okay, thank
Really
you.
great.
Have a great afternoon.
Great.
Take care.
Good afternoon.
Bye-bye.
Thanks so much. Bye.
Bye. You have been listening to the Jan Price Show, all about movies on Power Talk 1460 and 101 FM. And like the Jan